Good evening, everyone. Appreciate you being here tonight. We've got a presentation set up for the defensive side of ball in terms of how to utilize Pro Quick Draw from the defensive side of ball. Myself, I'm Kevin Reddy. I'll be working with you in terms of going over kind of the overall presentation and trying to take a look at how can we further enhance the use of breaking down film, being efficient with that process, taking it into Scout Card and building that library out, taking that into your scouting reports and different content that you want to provide your players. And the last is just a couple tips and reminders of just how everything gets tied in together. I've got Jake Simpson, who is a assistant linebackers coach at Buford High School with us. So he's going to be kind of not interrupting, but we're going to intermingle the presentation together between the two of us. And hopefully you can get something out of this to take it back to your staff. The biggest goal is to use PQD and to save time. So if you're a brand new user, the biggest reason that and how we operate, we're trying to save time for all of our coaches, whether it's drawing in PowerPoint or Visio, taking those diagrams, exporting them into Catapult's Thunder, taking it into Huddle and Quick Cut, and just speeding up that process so you don't spend that time trying to copy and paste information. And then from a Scout Card standpoint, building out that library full of drawings and using our integrations with the companies we work with to pull in data as well to just make all that stuff flow and save you time. And that to me is the biggest key piece to it. So I'm going to go ahead and share up here. And if you've got any questions as well, please feel free to drop them into the chat. And Jake will call them out at a time that's appropriate, and we'll try to answer as much as we can tonight. But we'll get this rolling. All right, so like I said, the biggest thing that we're going to start with, it's the film breakdown. So having a structure and an organized process for your staff is so important in terms of who's breaking down which games, what pieces of data each coach is responsible for, and just having a uniform system where there's consistency across the week and it's an updated process. When I GA'd, the biggest thing for us was constantly trying to stay ahead. So not only breaking down this week's opponent, but when you've got that free time late at night and you're just sitting there, go ahead and start inputting information for the next week's opponent. It's not going to hurt you. It's not going to mess up your thought process. You're just getting ahead of the game and trying to break that down. The other part is when you're breaking down film, don't have a column set that's got every single category in there. Make a column set of just the things that you're trying to break down. So one of the things is your defensive assistant or whoever you have on staff, the biggest things that they need to get organized immediately, it's going to be runs and passes on the film, down distance, field position, and hash. If you're in a good region or a league, the first thing I would ever tell you to bring up to league meetings is, can we share data for down distance, field position, and hash? Don't let that be stuff that takes up time doing it. See if you can create a Google Sheet for your game, in-game, type in that information, copy and paste it into your film software. Save time by doing that from a self-scout standpoint, and then you can import that information. When you're trading tape, try and get a league agreement that you can trade in these 4 categories to just speed up that process for everybody across the board. But it all starts with the runs and the passes. So create a column set inside of Huddle, Quick Cut, whatever you're using with those 4 values. And I can watch the film immediately and go, that's a pass, down a distance, it's 1st and 10 at the -20 on the right hash, hit enter. Don't even watch the play. Just get rolling, because all we're trying to do is break down the tape. You're going to go back and watch it. It's not a time for you to sit there and watch the film and analyze it. You're trying to get data in. Good data in equals great data out. And as soon as you can get that information in, you're going to scaffold and build it for the rest of the staff for that process. So as we go to the defensive line coach, or if you got a couple assistants, being able to go, all right, your job when we break down the tape is to break down just the run game. We'll create a cut up from the defensive assistants breakdown and just look at the runs. That's when you can really start to get in a frame of breaking it down and going, all right, I don't need the down and distance. I know it's a run. I don't need the formation. What's the concept? Is it a power? Is it gap scheme, counter, inside zone, outside zone? You type that in. Then if you start using your numbering system, it's 28 toss, it's 12 inside zone, whatever it is, you're just breaking down those 2 pieces of information. And just having that is going to allow you to go through that process significantly faster than trying to do the formation, the personnel, the down, the distance, and getting all that involved in one spot. So speed it up that way. DB's coach, same exact concept, but now you're just working the pass game. You've got strong side routes, weak side routes. The overall concept is it drop back, 5-step, 3-step, quick game screens, whatever your families are that you populate, that's your category for your breakdown inside a huddle or whatever you're using. Got 3 or 4 values, type it out, hit enter, start rolling. And then linebackers coach is one that's always kind of, you're involved in both the run game and the pass game. So having that capability of being able to assist everybody when needed is key in my book. But you can also attack the protections, or you and the D-line coach can switch games and do the run game together. Or if you've got a safeties coach and a corners coach, you break it up between those 2 coaches to do the pass games. I got these 2 breakdowns, you got those 2, and let's roll. And then from a coordinator standpoint, the biggest thing that your job is, to me, input the formation. That to me is always the hardest part of what are we going to call this? What does this look like? And sometimes the film is hard to see. Make a decision, throw it on there. And if it's not something that you're sure about, don't sit there for 5 minutes and try and figure out what you're going to do. Type it in as undecided, and then meet about that as a staff later on and go, hey, what do we want to call this? So now I can create a cut up of all the undecideds. Now I got undecided pass concept, run concept, formations, but you use that undecided filter to be able to find all that information and make it easy to make those corrections. All of that carries directly into the scout card process. And this is not the end all be all. It's just some suggestions I think that we can make to help people speed up what they're doing. And the biggest thing is you have to find what works for you. So we've got a couple teams that use the software, and they break down every single run and pass, and they draw it. For all the passes, if you're drawing passes, it's easy because all you need is the formation. You're watching the film, and was it a post? Was it a dig? Was it a curl? You drop it right there on the page. Run game is a little bit harder because you sit there and you draw it. Well, maybe it's against a 3-4 team and you're a 4-down team. Well, we're not going to draw that play exactly the way that they ran it right there against 3-4. We're going to need a separate card for that. So for the teams that draw every single one of them, they just put rules on the card. If it's an inside zone or outside zone, take the naming convention or the name of what your offense puts on there and start to teach your scout offense, your varsity offense, and use the same terminology on the card so you can develop those athletes as well. Just little things like that I think can help. So then it goes back into the exact system we just set up. What is the defensive assistant doing with card drawing? Assist where needed, or you can potentially help the coordinator and you're getting the formations up there drawn. And that's the process that we're going to show you tonight. I'm going to draw the formation. I'm going to save it to a OneDrive folder or shared Google Drive, whatever we're using. And Coach Simpson's going to be on his machine down the street, and he's going to add the passes right there behind it. So if I'm drawing the passes, I'm not trying to put the X is numbers +1. Where's the S, the Y, the Z? I got it back to, I got to get numbers. My job is simply just drawing out those passes. So from the run game standpoint, it's that same thought process of how do we want to draw our runs? Are we drawing it versus all the 4-down looks? Are we drawing it versus 3-4, 3-3-5, whatever it is, but figure out your process and how you want to draw those runs. If you're using the drawings from a scouting report, maybe you do want to put, they ran it against over this, this many times. So find what works for you from that standpoint. And then the second part is, do you want to use the software to draw, or do you want to draw by hand? And when I say by hand, I'm talking about on an Apple, either an iPad or a tablet. Get you an Apple Pencil and draw by hand and save it to your shared drive so you don't have to redraw those cards again every single day. Now you can build a library of, hey, here's outside zone versus over versus under versus our heads look, whatever it is. Build out that library, and that's what you pull from every time you start to draw, so you don't have to draw everything from scratch every week. Power against 4-down is power against 4-down. It's not going to change. So from the DB standpoint, it's same concept. You've just got it a little bit easier than what the run game coach has got. You get to watch the play and you get to draw exactly how they did it or what you think they did it, because kids are going to screw it up. And here we go as coaches. Do you think they actually meant to do that? I don't know, man, but we're going to figure it out, and this is what's on the card. If we need to make a change, we'll make a change. Same thing for the linebacker coach. You got to find that role for that tweener guy to figure out. Is he going to assist with runs? Probably, because we don't know what we're running against. Or at the beginning of the week, hey, man, I want you to help out and draw a bunch of passes so we can get that stuff done. And then during the week, when we want to start scripting out runs, we've got an idea of where we're going, how we want it to look, and then what defense are we going to put on the script sheet, which then plays a role for the coordinator. Your job with cards, you got to make corrections. You got to quality control it. Not every card is going to be perfect. People are up late at night. They're drawing stuff. Their eyes are starting to see double. Just get your white out if that's the way you're doing. Make your corrections. But if you're doing it through PQD, it's as simple as hitting the edit button, make the change, close and save it, and keep moving on. And then the last part, organize the practice script. Don't get the script to your guys 10 minutes before you need cards. That is just totally setting up for frustration and failure across the board. There's nothing worse as a GA than getting cards, get a stack and go, I need these drawn. We got to walk through in 15 minutes, and I got 30 plays to draw. All right, here we go. We're going to get a bottle, figure it out, and just roll. So from a couple tips of just the years of drawing cards, don't draw in game order. It's completely useless because things are going to be all over the place. Use your cutups in your film software. Like I said, good data in, good data out. As soon as that game is broken down, now we start drawing. So if I wanted to draw all the 3x1 passes, I'm going to get in the system of my formation is set up. It's 3x1. I'm moving a guy here and there, and I'm drawing the concept. Then I'm working in the 2x2 pass routes. Or if you do it and organize it by formation, set it up with, here's all the Dallases, here's all the Denvers, the Durhams. Then I'm working a trips O, trips bunch. Find a concept and draw off of that, and that's how you start to build out consistency, and that's what speeds up that process as well. So if you're going to draw red zone cards, don't draw that card and while it's in game order and put it in a red zone bucket. Make a cut up, draw the red zone, draw them, put them in a folder. The next piece, if you watch the video on the right, this is our play editor, which we released last May. And we're doing some updates to it here in the next month, but we're going to have a little bit more clean way to draw and two separate versions. This version that you're seeing on the screen is going to be built for runs. So as you can see, the sideline, it doesn't go all the way out. The whole goal and purpose was to zoom in so your run cards can be a lot more formatted and fitted to where when we print, kids aren't having to look all close up to it. It's clean. It looks good. You can see we're dropping in shades right there as well. So we tried to update the play editor to make things simpler. And now we're also doing it from the offensive perspective for all the shapes and the defensive perspective for all the shapes. So we've got some flip horizontal and vertical buttons in there. But once again, just the feedback that we get from you guys that all use it every single day, that's what we're trying to fix. Oh, buddy. There we go. All right. So Coach Simpson is going to take it away now and just discuss his folder structure and how they operate at Buford.
Amen. Thank you, Coach. And really, we're just thinking about, like, what are you guys looking for? Like, what is PQD really setting out to do with trying to really streamline the process of, hey, I got to build these cards. Like, I want the most simple yet efficient process that we can possibly have that makes it easier for my coordinator, head coach to say, hey, I want cards 1, 2, 3, boom, 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 for practice that day, or for, to look over, to send out, whatever it is. And I want my guys to be able to specialize in it, right? I don't want one guy doing 10 different things. I want you to be able to say, hey, I'm building pass cards like Coach is talking about. I want you to say, hey, I'm building run cards. And that's kind of where folder structure really comes into play. It's like, how are we talking to each other? How are we integrated with each other, in this process? And what does that communication look like between us and how we structure everything, and also using PQD? How does PQD communicate with, help us communicate with each other through the integrations? That's kind of what we're going to show with Huddle. And this is kind of what it is, right? The folder structure. And like Coach was saying, it can be similar to this. It can be exactly uh, built out like this, but honestly, this is kind of what we have seen and what we've came up with, where I believe it is at the forefront of one of the more efficient ways to organize this deal as I'm going out through the season. So obviously, I got my playbook, but I'm going season 2024 season, and I'm breaking it down by week 1 all the way through 8, and hopefully all the way to 15, 16, however many, it gets you all the way there to where you want to go. And then obviously pass game, run game. But what we did kind of here at the end, because I'm going divvying up by responsibility, pass game, run game, those are my different buckets, right? But I want to have different buckets within those, and this is just copy and pasting those folders, right? And just in the order you want by numbering it, 0001. But first and normal, second and short, like my situations, and then my cards within those. So like I was saying, I want it to look the most efficient for my coordinator. If he ever wants to go, hey, I want to pull from my second and medium bucket to throw it in my card into, this practice period, I can have it right there organized to where I'm saying, hey, I don't have to do any looking for it. And that's where the naming system comes in, to where, okay, I'm going to have all these different formations built out, right? Where I'm going to go in, I don't want to have to build every single card if I don't have to. And you can if you want to, obviously, but talking about efficiency, if I don't want to have to build every single card, I can build out those formations. And then, hey, I want this card from third and medium, third and short, second and long in my bucket for scout period this week, or team, or whatever it is. I can go in and pull from that bucket, but I want to name it by the play number. And that's where those columns come in, like we'll show in Huddle. I can name it first by the play number and then by the actual call or naming of the card. So then from there, it's like, okay, I've got my bucket that I can pull in. I'm going into Huddle, and then you have those columns where I can filter by whether it's a particular column you've come up with, but play number, I can go, okay, play 20. Then I can go match that play card with the data, and like you guys know who've been using it, it puts it right on there for me. And then if I'm building run game or pass card, I can go in there after and put it together, and then put in a 4-up, throw it out to my kids, throw it into Huddle, that type deal. But just really trying to streamline it and utilize how we can communicate with each other through that drive, like Google Drive, shared drive, but also through that Huddle integration, how it sorts and organizes things as well.
Perfect. So that folder structure is then what's going to allow you to really just speed up the process of creating your scouting report. If you're trying to put together a scouting report for situations for first and normal, well, now you got all your first and normal runs and passes in a folder. Now I'm just double clicking and dropping those into a 4-box, a 6-box, whatever it is, or just the most important ones to put them in there. Then you've got your third and short, medium and long, and red zone stuff. That's the stuff that your kids are going to be able to digest. So streamlining the process as a staff to get it drawn, to get it organized, and now we can start to kick that out into different reports for our players. So from a staff standpoint of what we need to do for the defensive assistant, once again, assist where needed. You got to find that guy on the staff, whether it's a young coach or whoever it is, your JV coaches, your freshman coaches, give them responsibility and ownership and being able to participate with the varsity, because that's what's going to help them grow, and it helps your program grow as well. Second part of that is the player depth chart. That is so easy for a young coach to be able to watch the film. Who's the left tackle? It's number 76. What's his name? Throw it in there. Now he goes into the left guard, right guard, center, all that. That is something that position coaches shouldn't have to be doing. That is grunt work right there. Pass off ideas and jobs like that to where you can't screw it up. You're literally just putting the numbers and the names in there. And once you get in a college world too, those players, when they start looking at those depth charts, all they care about is how big they are and what high school did they play at, because the locker room is just going to talk a whole bunch of trash on how their high school teams would have done against that kid 2 to 3 years ago and what they did in the past. It's really all they're looking at. So don't try and get weeded in all the stats and everything else that you're pulling from different websites. I hate to tell you, but your kids ain't looking at it. It's just part of the process. Next up is the D-line coach. What is your responsibility for the scouting report? Well, I've broken down the film for all the runs. I've drawn all the cards for the runs. Well, what should I do for the scouting report? I should probably do something in regards to the runs. Well, what runs are the most important? The possession openers, so P and 10, and your first and normal, second and normal. Then you get into your short yardage. Your D-line coach should be a guru on what the team is doing from 3rd down and 1 to 3rd down and 6. That needs to be his money where he's making it, and being able to present not only to the players, but as the staff, what they're doing in short yardage. Because now this is the 4th, 5th, or 6th time that the coach has gone through it. He created the run cut up. He went through the runs and broke it down. Now he's starting to add his cards in the 3rd down and short area, and he's drawing it up and he's putting in the bucket. He should be able to immediately recite what are their favorites, what are the things that they want to do when it's crunch time and when you got to have that first down. DB's coach, it's the same exact process, right? He's worked on favorite passes all week. What are the most important passes? First down, PN10s, your first and normals, and then that 3rd and medium to long range. They should know exactly what's going on. And lastly, you got to be important in the red zone. If you want to play great defense, you got to play great on 3rd down, and you've got to be efficient in the red zone and turn 6 into 3. It's the only way you're going to get wins out of it. So your DB's coach and your backers coach, they need to work together on red zone and get that stuff scripted up. Now, granted, coordinator is always going to have his hand in it because that's his job. It's his responsibility. But once again, allow your coaches to get ownership in what they're trying to do and present it to the staff to continue their growth along the line. Backers coach, make him the 3rd down guy. If it's not the short yardage piece and you want that D-line coach to do that, hey, linebacker coach, how are we going to attack protections? He may have done the protections earlier from that earlier slide. Make him the 3rd down run pass guy. Don't let the DB coach get involved in that. Maybe you just switch it up and change up the responsibilities. You know, early in the season, allow guys to do different responsibilities and see where their strengths are. If you've got a guy who draws really slow and you're playing a tempo pass team, you better add another guy on staff that week to help draw with passes. So see what people are good at, see what they can learn, see where they're efficient. Are they better at drawing on an iPad, or are they better at using our play editor system? The system is so vast in what you're able to do. There are no limits in this thing. You should never be hindered as a coach with technology these days. And like we said, lastly, the coordinator, analyze the quarterback. Everything in high school is all about the dude under center. Typically, it's the best athlete. What are his strengths? What are his weaknesses? That's the stuff that you're really trying to promote and digest to your kids. Your kids aren't going to look at, certain situations and things like that. Just give them the major notes. What are the top formations that they run, and what are the 3 passes and 3 runs out of it? And just start there. And then as they continue to grow in the program and the expectation of what they've got, start to give them more. But keep it simple. It doesn't need to be complicated with the scouting reports and things like that. You guys in high school don't have as much time like the NFL and college do with 35 different assistants. You got to take the notes that you can, and what can your players digest? That to me is the biggest key piece to it. So Coach Simpson's going to talk about our new depth chart that we're adding into a template.
Sir, like Coach just said, this is going to be getting rolled out here in the new release coming up here soon, and it's really just how do I want to put this out there to show it to my guys, like, hey, you earn your spot, you get put out there, you get your picture put in the depth chart, and then obviously the 2, 3 are those backups for each position. You can kind of, like everything with PQD, you can customize it. Like Mike Samuel, obviously you can adjust that, and then the actual process of inputting these, it's the same deal. I just have it sitting in a folder, but in my images folder, where I can go in through PQD, through my master library, images, depth chart, however I want it organized, and then those images just live in a bucket, whether it's something I've got saved on my computer, or I went and used the snipping tool like some of you might be familiar with. Any kind of snipping tool works, but I can have it selected and then go click on the actual, because it's going to be a little different from just going add, because the certain order, it's way easier just to go find it. Okay, here's my image, select it, select the box I want it to go in, and instead of add, I hit insert. And same deal for just going for add from clipboard. That's if I had it snipped from somewhere on the internet, whether I was doing that deal for our depth chart or just, for a personnel report to the other team. So.
And you're using this for your roster, your special team stuff, different things like that, scout team roster as well. Find different creative ways to like Coach said, kids want to see their picture up somewhere. Find a way to utilize that for your scout team roster for the week. Number 11's the number 1 receiver. Who's the JV player that we want to do that we want him to portray that week? Different things like that. And then your opponent's scouting report. Doesn't have to be a template just for your depth. You can use this on the other side of the ball as well. And we've got templates for offense and defense in there, but you're always free and welcome to change those and customize that on your end. So the biggest key piece to the scouting report, try and go back here, major and the majors. Don't start putting too much information to where your kids aren't going to read it, because it causes what? Paralysis by analysis. If your kids are looking at 65 different things on a sheet of paper, they're probably not going to be able to digest it. So put the stuff on there in the report that, one, it's all coming from your drawings. Utilize the formations in those folders on a week-to-week basis. And now when I go to create my scouting report versus Texas, they're a big 3x1 team. I'm not redrawing all the 3x1s because we just played Texas Tech the week before. I've got all that stuff in the system already. Utilize those pieces to create those scouting reports, and then just drop in a text box on top of it and say, hey, top runs, it was inside zone for 6 snaps. It was outside zone for 3 snaps. It was counter for 1. That's the stuff that you're trying to really find for your players. But the biggest thing to me that people don't utilize for the scouting report, you want to use it to supplement the film. So if you've got a scouting report for first and normal and you've got the major and the major stuff, create a cut up that has those specific plays, because now I can look at that sheet of paper and read, this is what I need to be watching. And I share a first and normal cut up with my kids, and it's the same stuff that's on that piece of paper. You're just constantly trying to regurgitate and get a constant theme for the players to see it. So now when we get the third down and short, it's not all the third and shorts in the cut up. Don't do that to them. Put the major snaps that are going to be in there, the major key points of emphasis. If you've got a spot in your scouting report, you got a team that does a bunch of trade shifts and motions and things like that, you better put a cut up together and explain to them what they're looking at. Find this stuff and put it on paper and tell the kids what they're watching. Half the kids don't play Madden anymore. They don't play college football. I guarantee you, if you asked them how many players were on the field at once, not very many of them are going to tell you 22. That's just the day we're in now for football. You've got to tell them what they're looking at. And
Great,
coaches too.
Ready.
Yep.
We've got a question in the chat from Coach Jusick. With the folder structure, do you have all those folders, first down, second and short, et cetera, in each opponent folder, or just first set of those folders? And because it's, you customize it, right? Where I would personally say yes, because you can have duplicates of files, right? Where you can go in and just, if you want to go back through your folders, if you're looking back, what did we see as a coordinator, and check those buckets. What did I actually run? Then I can have, this bank of plays where I can say, hey, this is what we ran, or this is what we were considering running this period or this practice, week 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yep. And the piece that I would say there is, during the summer, build out the folder structure for your first opponent, because you're going to make changes to that. Don't build the whole season at once, and now all of a sudden you got 3 or 4 folders that you don't use anymore because you put them in July. You thought they were going to be a great idea. Do the first week opponent and build out all those folders. And then before you start populating plays in there and files, copy and paste that and put it on your desktop, and that is kind of like your default folder tree. So week 2, we got our folder structure, we copy and paste it and go, all right, guys, here's our folder structure. What do we want to do? Well, you know what? Last week, the team, we established the third down and short point was third down and 3. All right, so that folder is 3rd and 1 to 3. Well, week 2, maybe when you're breaking down the tape and you're looking at tendencies, well, now that team, their breaking point for 3rd and short is now 3rd and 2. So instead of having a 3rd down and 1 to 3 folder, it needs to be 1 to 2. So give yourself a little bit of flexibility each week as you carry it through. And then once you get in that groove, then you can start and make everything. And then when you start working ahead, you're populating those folders as you go. Hope that answered your question, Coach. But if you want to elaborate on that, just shoot us a message. Let me know, and Jake will interrupt. The biggest thing too is right here on the right side of the screen. The images and the stuff that you're seeing, they're just PowerPoint slides. So I took Carson Beck's picture and I copied and pasted it from the website and I put it in there as a PowerPoint slide. I grabbed his font, his bio, his information, and it's just a PowerPoint. Any coach or anybody that's got any dealings of using PowerPoint can put together something like this. Keep it simple. Just put the stuff that your kids need to see it. And then if you also notice, I'm pulling this from a recruiting folder. So as your players, as you get college coaches that are coming in to recruit your players, create a folder for recruiting for all of your 24 offensive linemen. And now you've got their headshot, their mom and dad's name, their player information, their address, their phone number. So when you get a coach from school A comes in and goes, who are the kids that I need to be looking at? 30 seconds, coach, hang on. I think you want this, 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 and this. Now I can double click Carson Beck's name. I can double click the next kid, double click the next kid, go file, print, and hand it to them. Because you don't want to have a sheet with 17 or 15 or whatever, how many players it is that you potentially may have that you're handing out to these college coaches. They're not going to look at them. Probably half of them are going to throw them in their rental car and leave it. So just give them the stuff that they need, put it in a file, send it to them as a PDF. Check your email. I got all the kids that you need. And then let them do the dirty work to find out the huddle tapes if need. Or we got a couple coaches who put a QR code in here as well. And the QR code goes directly to that player's huddle highlight tape. So now a phone coach can be in his car at the airport. He gets that sheet that you printed up for him. He snaps it and he's watching that kid's highlight tape right there. And you guys just update the stats as the week go on for each individual player. Very simple to do. Doesn't take a lot of time. You build out one, duplicate it, change the name, add the stats, duplicate, change the name, add the stats. So little things like that. So just don't get so hindered on this thing that it's only good for drawing cards. There's so much more that you can do with it. So here's an example of a scouting report that we've put together. And it seems like it's a lot of information. So if I'm a sophomore or anything like that, and I look at this, holy crap, where do I look? So when you print this stuff out, go over it with your kids in a meeting. Go, hey, this is the report, and this is the stuff that I want you to look at. The formation family is Dallas. Well, it's a D word. It's 2x2. The first picture is yo. What does that mean? It means Y off. The second one, there's no yo, which means Dallas, the tight end, is on the line of scrimmage. You start in the top left. How many snaps did they run in this formation? We got 28 total, which is 16 run, 12 pass. Pretty balanced. Then I start to look at the run type. We got power, percentage, and then the average. The three things that you're looking right there, it's the name of the concept, how often do they run it out of that formation, and then is it a good average or is it a bad average? Because right now I know if I'm a 3 technique and we're playing a team and they run power, they're probably really good at the point of attack. So that kid right there knows I got to be a baller and start trying to get some penetration there. Then we've got power and counter. So you know what? Out of this formation, backers, we need to do a really good job of being able to see B gap and those pullers. So having great vision. Those are the things that you're trying to teach these kids that you're looking at from this. So it seems like a lot, but narrow it and bring it down into exactly what they're trying to look at. So as you start to roll through this thing, if I compare the top 3 runs of yo, power, counter, outside zone, then I look to the right and I go to Dallas. It's inside zone, it's outside zone, and it's power. There's not a lot of pullers going on when the tight end is on the ball. That is a great key as a player. When I look at this, I know tight end is off. There's a good chance he's coming back for counter. There's a good chance that they're going to run power and he's going to kick or anything like that. So that's the stuff that you're trying to put together for the kids. And the biggest thing is using PQD is I create a formation in my buckets, and the formation is called Dallas Yo. So when I create this template every single week, I've got the formation for Dallas Yo. I click it in, I go to edit, and then I type in my information right there directly from Huddle or Quick Cut or wherever you're getting your stats, and you use the same thing each week. You don't have to build this from scratch every single time you do it. All you're literally doing is changing McEachern offense to Parkview offense, if that's who you're playing the next week, and you're filling in those totals. So don't make it more complicated than what it is, but You give your kids the report, tell them what they're looking at so they know what to look at and they can potentially digest it. The bottom section, don't give that to your players. That's too much to look at. That's more for your coaches or the coach in the box to be able to have during the game. And, hey, they're in Dallas, they've done it 6 times. Are they staying true to who they are? Yeah, coach, they are. All right, cool. We're good. Let's keep rolling with the game plan. Nope, they're not. They're changing this, this, and this. Now we can relay that. We're watching the tape on the sideline, and we're getting that information to the players, and we've got some consistency what we're trying to look at. So lastly, I'm not going to hit too much on tips and reminders, but it's just another one of those things. It's different from the scouting report. And the reason it's different from the scouting report, your scouting report comes out hopefully on Sunday or Monday to your players. Tips and reminders, it's your Thursday document. You just got done doing your walkthrough. The kids come off the field. We go to a meeting. We're going to watch a hit tape with these 15 snaps. We're going to discuss these couple things, whether it's formation, motion adjustment, whatever it is, the most important things that you need to relay to your kids, but you are not introducing new information with tips and reminders. You're literally giving them tips and you're literally giving them reminders, and that's it. So the defensive assistant, what is his role? You're going to the D-line coach, you're going to the DB's coach and the backers coach, and what material do you guys want to have for the meeting? And you're helping put that together with the coordinator in his hip pocket. Defensive line coach, what are your tips and reminders? Well, favorite runs, short yardage. You're just trying to re-emphasize all the things that you've already broken down that week for the guys. Just, hey, cold or hot. When they run power, is the puller, is he light in his hands? Do you get a good high hat, low hat read in certain situations? Is the tackle really heavy or is he light? Those are the tips and reminders you're trying to give from a defensive line standpoint. Working on DBs, is there anything that you're getting that you've noticed after watching film all week? When they get in stacks, what's their percentage? What are they doing? How are we going to play bunches and tight sets? What are our reminders to those different types of formations? And then situationally, what do they like to do in the red zone? We're just reiterating what we saw in the scouting report and just trying to hit on anything that we learned about our kids during that week. Linebacker coach, same thing. You're always that tweener guy, being able to participate and help out where you can. And from a backer standpoint, the linebackers we had when I was coaching high school, they were really good at being able to read offensive linemen and pullers. They didn't give a crap about anything else. All they wanted to know was, coach, who are we reading and where do my eyes need to be in these formations? And they picked it up and we had some good players back then. But they only wanted to know one thing, where do my eyes go? And so that's how we tried to keep it simple for them. Lastly, as a coordinator, it's that formation motion adjustment. We got a really great integration that we've utilized with Go Army Edge, being able to take your formations and get motions going across the field, putting those scenarios into a Go Army Edge cut up and sending it to your kids. And they're late at night, they're sitting on their phone, they're watching it, they're getting mental reps of that 3D piece to it. And then if you've got a walkthrough area in a gym, pull out the old TV cart and put a projector on it and put it up against the wall and play a Go Army Edge clip. Instead of getting your scout team sophomores that are distracting and telling jokes and ripping on each other, utilize the 3D stuff. Now I can tell it exactly where I want it to go, and I'm utilizing my drawings. You're not having to draw from scratch again for the 3D piece to be able to utilize that. And the great part about that is you build out the major motions and formations. So we go from 3x1 to 2x2, 2x2 to 3x1. We trade the tight end. He goes from one side to the other. We create a snug set within motion. We get jet motion. What are we thinking? Those are the things that just you find yourself repeating every single week, and utilize that stuff to keep it consistent. So this last chart, it's basically just a re-hitter. Had a great coach tell me one time, tell people what you're going to teach them. You teach them, and then you tell them what you taught them. So we're going back to our assignment for film breakdown as a coordinator. Your biggest thing that you can help, name the formations. D-line coach, your theme is nothing but runs. That's all you're doing, and a little bit of protection if you're doing games and twists and things like that. The LBC, the old linebacker coach, you've got assisting with protections. Well, why? Because when we blitz, we want to be able to know how to attack those different types of protections. That's the stuff that helps in being able to sync the back end with the front end as well. And then DB's coach, you are pass game all the way through and through, from scouting report, drawings, and tips and reminders. So if you need this presentation, we can always send it out. There's nothing here that's personal. It's all good stuff. Hopefully, I hope you got something out of that. But where we want to take this now is, for the last 15, 20 minutes that we got, I'm going to basically turn myself into the DC, and I'm going to draw up a formation, and I'm going to save it to our OneDrive folder. So Jake is at his house in his OneDrive. He's going to be able to pull up the formation and then draw the pass play using the play editor tool. Once he does that and he saves it, then I'm going to come back in and go, here's the scout cards that we want for the week. Here's a couple formations. I'm going to flip them and take them to a different diagram to utilize a practice script. I'm going to share it up to Huddle now with my kids to be able to see the diagram and the video, and there's that whole practice period. So those are the things of trying to get all this and piece it together. So go ahead and we'll get a new PowerPoint. So I'm starting that up. So I'm going to go I'm going to switch this over to the half of the screen. So I'm breaking down just the formation. So hopefully, if you don't have all the formations in, you can do this cohesively, but you want to have good data in, which is good data out. So I'm going to break down play number 100 right here. So I paused the film. I know it's a 3x1 look. This is what we got. It's trips O, open, gun far. So I'm going to go over here to the left side of the screen to my play editor. I'm going to trigger drawings. I'm going to go to the offensive personnel. This is going to load up. Computer is getting maxed out. So, all right, we said it's 11 personnel, 3x1. So I'm going to double click that. It's going to automatically drop that 3x1 right there for me. Now all I have to do is just adjust people to get them exactly where I want them. So the Z is on the ball just inside the numbers. The S is just inside the hash. So I hold the shift key. When you hold down shift, it'll keep them going right on that same plane. So now I've got the tight end. He's outside. We're there. Grab this guy. I'm going to go to my align button and choose bottom. So now they're lined up on the bottom. My X, when I'm looking at the film, he's at the bottom of the numbers. So we're good there. This play, that formation is done. So I'm going to go to my F12, which is my shortcut for save as, or go to file, save as. I'm going to put this in the 24 season, week 1. This is going into the pass game because I'm setting up Coach Simpson to be able to draw quickly. So I can see on the film, it's 3rd down and 10. So I'm going to go into my 3rd and 10 folder, which is 3rd and long. Then my naming convention. Coach talked about the importance of it. I always start my naming convention with the play number. And you're going to see exactly why when Coach Simpson pulls it up to search for the play. But it's play 100. Right? It is 11 personnel, trips O, right, gun far, and I called it 68 double digs X curl. The more information I put in my file name, the easier it is to search for it. So I'm going to hit save. That's done. That is uploading right now to the cloud. And now I'm going to stop the share on my screen. And Coach Simpson is going to share up on his.
Yes, sir. Here we go. So just share. You see that, Coach?
We're good.
All right, Roger. So same deal. I just open up, like you guys know, I go into PowerPoint, hit my toggle panel. And then what I'm going to do is basically I'm just activating my Huddle play library icon within PowerPoint. So that's loading up. And then right here, as you'll see, it is rooted already to this same folder that Coach has got pulled up. And then I selected my 16x9 scout card. That's pulling in that Huddle data. And I can go update, put it on my slide. And then when I hit Huddle, that'll take me in. Then right here, this is all my data in Huddle. This is everything that Coach just was looking at, where I can go in and filter, sort the same way. And right here, I've got to just make sure in media to add right here. I go media to add, and I have master library media type selected. And what that's doing is it's going to let me, when I go in and select this clip, associate the data from play 100 that he just saved that card for. So I can go in here, same deal, and I go future opponent, and then Rookwood versus O, and then same deal like in Huddle, I can go filter for pass. Boom, just showing that off. And now we can go right here to play 100 and double click. And that is going to throw play 100 into my template, where like that's kind of what we were saying at the beginning, right? The naming system, where what I've got selected right here is the play column for play number, right? Where, like I was saying earlier, if you have a better way you think you can do it by associating your column in Huddle other than play number that you can put with each play, go ahead and do it. But this is kind of how we're doing it with play number 100. Select it, and that's going to search through all these folders for, you know, trips, right, gun far, 68 double digs, and then I can double click or single click select. That's going to throw it in there. And then obviously what he built out was the formation, right? So then I can just go in right here, select it, and then hit my edit PQD button. And that's going to take me into the actual file. And then same deal, it's just me on my end going in and building it out. So play editor, and I've got my shapes pulled up. Now I can go routes. We'll go select my slot, Y, hold control, select them both. We got double digs right here, double in, boom. And then same deal, select them both. We're going to bring them down to 10. And then we got a post right here at 12. And I've got it set right here for line color match. So normally default's going to pull it in whatever color it is in your bank, but I've got it set to match, so it's coming in the color of that actual player icon. So that's just a few less clicks I'm actually having to do on my end. And then backside we've got the curl, and then it'll swing right here. Boom. So then I'm done, right? And I can go top right, exit out, save. Same way it updated for me when he saved it. It's going to update for him on his end when I go and save that in OneDrive. So, and that will update for me. So I can go right here, and let's go right back to this deal. And then if it's not in there, it will save in that Huddle library, but I can go master, same deal. Let's pull up that card one more time, and it'll still associate that same card when I pull it in. Boom.
Got to give that OneDrive a second to update.
Yeah, let's just do that real quick.
So essentially, once that updates, the whole thing why you're trying to use that shared drive is you've got one coach drawing out the formations, and he's just going right down the film of formation 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, whatever. The second coach, he's not trying to get all the hashes or all the players linked up exactly where they are. He's just utilizing that system to quickly drop in the 5 routes. You close it, you save it, and that's all he's drawing. So the whole goal is to everybody is working all together simultaneously. We're updating all those cards, and then as soon as Jake is done, I'm able to pull those back in on my side as well. So now I can pull in the updated cards. I can use it from a scout card. I can use it for a tip and reminder. However we want that to update, we're going to be able to pull all that information in. So there's his card. It's been updated. He's good.
And then you can also flip that vertically, obviously, when I'm done.
Yep. And then if you notice up there at the top, it's pulling in the data directly from Huddle. So whatever you've got typed in, that's the stuff that you're referencing. There's no point to write anything on a card anymore because you can pull it directly down from the data. That's the stuff that you start to save time with. I don't have to look at the film and go, what was the personnel? What was the down and distance? It's all going to populate right off that film for you. And if you wanted to change something or edit, you just literally click it and type in the box and you've made that change. So Coach, I'm going to go ahead and share mine back up. All right, so we'll drop this down. So now we go back. So create my new presentation. So now I'm able to go back into the toggle panel. The right side of the screen, I'm still linked into the same folders that Coach had. The only difference is that I drilled in directly to the 2024 folder. So I don't have to look at 2020, 21, 22, whatever. I'm working in the 21 season for this specific opponent, so it's week 1. So now I can go right back. I'm going to grab my scout card. I hit the update button, go back into my huddle library, right? I trigger on my huddle button. This is going to pull up my cutups down here at the bottom. So I can either utilize it directly from my huddle library, or I can pull it down here at the bottom, because now it's syncing with that master library on the OneDrive, and it's syncing with all that data as well. So I'm going to go to 23 season. We go to McEachern, opponent scout. I can go to the all pass folder, drill down into play 100, master library. That's where it's going to pull it back. It's already right there loaded. So now when I pull it in, as long as our OneDrive is up and running and syncing across, I should be able to pull in that updated version. Just taking a little bit of time between our houses right there. So once you've got all that information, you're dropping it in. Well, now I want, I create a cut up of these 4 plays or what I want to add. So now I hit the add button right here, and then that's going to search play 20. I can even search it based off of if I wanted to find anything within this entire folder labeled Trips O Bunch, you can narrow it that way as well. So I'm being specific. I want play 20. I double click it. That's going to pull in the 20 play that we had. Here's 21. Now I'm pulling in the next play, which was play 22 if I had that broken down in the system, which I don't. So now you can see we're pulling in the cards, and I've even done one off of the iPad. If you're a guy that wants to draw by hand because you feel like it makes you a better coach, or you feel like you understand it more, use your iPad, and you're just linking into the same exact OneDrive file, and you're dropping those right in. Then if I go, all right, we're going to pull in some run game cards from this. So here's a version of 28 toss of where, remember I told you at the beginning with our defense, I draw cards without the defense on there because I'm going to tell my kids, hey, this is just like 28 toss on the offensive terminology. Now when I double click and drop it in, there's our generic drawing. Well, now if I wanted it as 8 quick pitch, but I wanted to put in a defense, I use my play editor to do the defense. I save the file, I pull it up on my iPad, and then I can draw it right there and zoom in and get everything that I want exactly the way I want it. So there's my scout cards. Well, now I want to take this as a practice script. This to me is such a key advantage that we're starting to see people use on the field for a couple reasons. Number one, not everyone is always going to look at the Excel spreadsheet that you took the time as a coordinator to type out and print. No one's going to look at it. And when you go to teach your kids, you're doing your old Nick Saban hand motions and things like that, talking about 2 and getting over the top. Whereas if I needed to tell my receiver why we're playing poach right here, because the Y is vertical, he can see that picture. You can instruct him right there immediately with it. So here's my scout card. Now I'm going to take my convert template button. I'm going to choose my drop down, and I'm going to go to a 12 box because that's what I want for scout cards. Oh, not scout cards, my practice script. Flip the drawing, we give it a name, and now when I hit convert, it's going to take all those drawings, it's going to flip it automatically right there for me, and now I've got a 12-play script of all the drawings or whatever we just did, but now it's in a defensive perspective. So when you're talking to your kids, or you're the linebackers coach or the safeties coach, and you're wanting to know what the next drawing is, you've got it pulled up right there. And now I can see the difference in sizes between the pass cards that we give and then the run cards that we give. You got a total different sizing aspect that you can utilize right there with that. So that to me is a huge advantage of using it. So there's our not scouting report, but there's our practice script. So if we took these same exact drawings from a scouting report, so now I'm just going to change it to a 4-box. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to trigger my toggle panel. All right, well, what are their top 4 formations? Well, I've got a formations bucket that I've utilized. So now I can come into formations. I know it's trips O, bunch, it's trips O, it's trips, and then the last one is going to be Dallas. Well, here's my top 4 formations. Well, now I just go flip all drawings vertical, and then I can start adding in my notes right here for the hit chart. Excuse me. So I go into my insert. I'm going to drop a text box. And then right here we go a quick pitch for 4 times. That's how easy it is to make your scouting report for different formations. You don't have to do a lot here. You're just trying to tell the kids the information that they need to know. So that's the next example. Then you got tips and reminders and things like that. You're still taking the same exact drawings and doing that same exact process with those drawings, however you want it to look. If I wanted to export these formations to GoArmy Edge for a motion walkthrough, I can easily do that. How can I add a motion? Go into Pro Quick Draw. We hit the edit button. This is going to pop up that individual drawing. I grab my T. I go over here to shifts and motions, and I go shift across. And then I can go Control Z. I hit my flip button. I drop it, and now there's my drawing for motion adjustment. I close it and save it. Here's our walkthrough cards that we're doing. Very simple. Don't make it harder than what it should be. We're only talking about 11 shapes and a couple lines. That's all it is at the end of the day. So the last thing that I'll show you here, it has to do with taking this material and sending it into Huddle with video and with cards. So I'm going to do just 3 plays here. So I'm going to go back. I got my toggle panels pulled up. I'm going to make sure that I get my Huddle stuff down here at the bottom. So we trigger that. So here's the couple plays that I want to utilize. So I'm just going to go to a 1-up, hit the update button. So now I'm going back into my cut-up. Go to McEachern, opponent scout. I got all passes. So I'm going to grab play 20. I want that one. I want this one. And I want that one. Media to add. I want to make sure that I add the video with still here. So I've got master library and video with still. So now it's going to search my library for the drawing that I created. Well, Betsy's getting maxed out tonight. There it is, play 20. So now it's adding in the image, and then I want to make sure I've got the correct angle. So I'm going into my settings. Go with the wide copy. Go OK. Load back up. So now it's dropping in card and then video, and then I'll just do one more from a time standpoint. So now we got card and we got video. So I'm basically creating off of the same exact plays. I've got my scout cards, my tips and reminders, my scouting report, and now I'm taking this as a cut up to send to our players. So I go directly to my Huddle tab or Quick Cut, whichever we're using. Upload Playbook as a new playlist. This is going now into the McEachern folder. This will be for today's practice. So this is our Skelly reminders, however you want to label it. We hit the upload button. So now what PQD is doing is we're taking that drawing and then the video and we're splicing it together as a cut up inside of Huddle. So now there's no more of this whole concept of I got to upload a PowerPoint presentation. I got to drag and drop the slides. You're doing all the work right here. So now as we go back into Huddle, so I can see right here, it's a temp file. So I know it's loading up right now. So hopefully the biggest takeaways, and I'll just give that a little bit more time. The biggest thing, like I said, it's having a plan for your staff and how everyone is going to work together to, one, get a process. Who is drawing what? Who is breaking down what information? So when it comes to breaking it down, adjust your columns and only type in the things that you need to be looking at to speed up that process and also the tabs going across. The next part is your scout card process. Don't draw in game order. Make sure that you've got your cut up set. So if we're working on Monday's cards for first and normal passes, create your cut up for first and normal passes and just draw that. Don't feel like you have to draw every single play if you're not going to use them. And because you can utilize this thing and work quickly, you have that time of Sunday night. We're going to script out first a normal pass Skelly, first a normal team mix, first a normal inside runs. Those are the cards that we're drawing. Type in the script, put the defense there, look at it on Google Drive or Excel. So that way when those coaches, if they're working remote, they can easily find that information and draw what they need to draw. And then Tuesday, we start working on a third down game plan. Wednesday, we start working on red zone. So don't feel like you have to draw everything at the start of the week. Take what you need and build on it. And then as you get more and more experience in doing it, and also when you build that library, you're going to have a large bucket of plays that you can draw from. Don't feel like you have to put player numbers on every single diagram for scout cards. If you're trying to use beanie caps, make sure it's color coded. So when you print it out, the kids can see exactly where they need to be lined up and what they need to be doing. So those are just the little things right there that I think can really help accelerate as people start rolling throughout the season. And, take some time right now during the summer, break down a quarter of a game and give people different responsibilities and see how long it takes you. Have those conversations of, do you feel like drawing? Do you want to learn this software? Is it something you want to do? Do you want to draw by hand? All right, well, if you're going to draw by hand, don't let it rain at practice because here we go. We're going to have to draw those things up again. So those are just the little tips and reminders I think that can definitely help get those things going. Utilize the integration to speed up the data. Share good content with your players. Like I said earlier, major in the majors. Don't do anything that they're not going to be able to digest. Those are the things I think that can really help speed it up. But I hope that was beneficial for you. We're going to go ahead and stop the recording now, so that way if you guys have questions, we can go ahead and answer those for you, and you don't have to worry about being on screen. But thank you, and have a good night.